All right, YouTube, it's been a little while. We're back, staying busy. Today we've got a full set calipers, rotors, pads, front and rear for a 2016 Dodge Challenger. This right here, the brakes are okay. They definitely need to be replaced, so while we're at it, we're just gonna go ahead and boom, full upgrade. This is gonna be the third full set I've actually installed. I installed them on my BMW previously on my Z4. I've installed them on a 2012 Ram, and now the 2016 Mopar here. Yeah, let's get to it. And I've already said like 10 times. Hopefully you're not drinking every time I say it. Let's stay busy. All right, YouTube, this is the passenger side rear. We've got all of our tools set up. 1/2 inch for the banjo bolt, 10mm for the bleeder, 1/2 inch for the studs on the back of your guide pins, which are these, so that's 1/2 inch. And then these are 18mm that actually bolt the caliper mounting bracket onto the back of here. So I'm actually going to, I'm going to remove our rubber seal here and our cover for our bleeder screw. And yeah, I'm going to start simply by loosening that, and I'm going to bolt that onto here right away and loosen up my bleeder screw. That way gravity fills this for the most part before I actually get started. And that is my 1/2 inch. I'm just using 3/8 drives tools, hand tools. They work fine for me. So boom, just that fast. My kit came with, yikes, I'm an idiot. So my power stop kit came with new copper washers, crushed washers. And they're right here. New copper crush washers. So those go in here and they actually create your seal. It's a high pressure system, right? It's a hydraulic system of brakes. That's what stops your vehicle. Pretty important. So when you take off this banjo bolt, there's our screw. It's got a little hole right there and then a hole in the center, so the fluid goes through here, pumps into your caliper and pushes that out. Now on this, you want to make sure you get rid of the old crush washers. Sometimes they come off pretty easy. This side's already gone. It's obviously stuck to the old caliper. But again, you want to make sure you get those off. You do not want to have two on there. Come on. Are you kidding me right now? There it goes. Boom. Removed. So now we'll put one on the outside. Slide it back through the banjo bolt. One on the inside. And we'll start threading it onto our new caliper and bracket and everything else. This is squared off, so it's going to go on there in one specific direction. If you have it the other way, and some cars may use that same exact caliper, just in a different orientation depending on the way it mounts. You want to get that pretty tight. Honestly, I'm going to get it much tighter once I have that mounted down there. We're going to lay this off to the side. Yes, I should have a mount. I don't though, so that's what we're going to do. Next, we're going to use our 18mm and remove this entire bracket all at once. Lefty tighty, righty loosey. This has to be pushed down. We're going to use the hammer fist on her. Oh my goodness, she's tight. really not a whole lot of room in here to work between upper arms and lower arms. Not a whole lot of room. It'd be really nice to have those little power ratchets, but I don't mind doing it by hand. Ouch. Woo. I've had this ratchet set for since I went to automotive school to work on cars. I've had this tool set. Oh my goodness. Ouch. I keep punching that caliper. That's really kind of bothering me. I thought I brung. Maybe not. Now this hardware is going to get reused. Again, these are 18 millimeter. There it goes. You can see our factory pads were just about worn out. So, you know, we could have done probably $150, $200 brake job, but why do that when again we can replace everything in here, make it much nicer, and not only that, but give it a much better ability to stop. Sometimes there's a rubber O-ring right around here that seals this on here. I don't see one on here. I think it's just our rear parking brakes inside here actually stopping it. That's exactly what I'm trying to avoid. Out with the old, and again, you know, they're worn out. I'm sure those are quite original. We'll give that a little blow job. Looks good in there. We live in Michigan, not the mountains. We don't use our parking brakes around here. We're going to grab our new caliper. That's not what it's called. It's called a rotor. I'm going to grab our new rotor. From Power Stop, they come labeled. This one's for the rear passenger side. Conveniently enough, that's where we're at. Rear passenger side. I'm going to go ahead and give it a good spray with the brake cleaner and the wipe. I don't know how necessary that actually is. They say these come with a special coating on them to stop them from rusting while they're sitting in a box, and that you really want to make sure you get that off. But Power Stop sends a break-in procedure when you get new brakes from them that allows you to bed the rotors to the pads. Boom, pushed it all the way on. We'll grab our caliper now, and again, we're going to use our old hardware, which are our 18mm studs here. And we're going to get those started by hand always. Top and bottom. Make sure we haven't cross-threaded or anything wild. And then we're going to tighten these up. Actually, you know what we're going to do first? We're going to loosen up our bleeder screw. And by loosen up, I really mean completely remove. When you're doing calipers are side specific. The bleeder screw needs to be at the top so that the fluid fills up from the bottom and comes out through the top. So you always want to make sure it's filling up from the bottom. So your bleeder screw is always at the top of your calipers. That's pretty important. So as we're tightening these up and doing the rest of our brake job, we should eventually get fluid out of that. And that's gravity bleeding. As long as I make sure that the master brake cylinder, up there where your fluid goes, as long as that stays with fluid in it and you don't run that dry, you'll be fine. You won't get any air bubbles in your system. I have a air-powered pressure bleeder. I very rarely ever use it. I've never really needed to. Doing brakes this way, I always get a very firm pedal, and I've never had an issue. I've never needed the two people bleeding system, you know, unless you open up a system or blow a line and get air in the middle of your system. But this has always worked very well for me. These were tight when I got here. I'm gonna put them tight when I leave. Okay. Looks like we're already starting to get some fluid out of the top here. I'll let it go a little bit longer. I'm gonna put my 1/2 inch back on, like I said, once that bracket was on there. And I'm going to run this home, make sure we have no leaks, and that these crush washers are actually crushed. And I'm getting a lot more spin out of this right now. I'm sure for technical people, there's an actual torque setting. I'm not a technical person. Kind of fire from the hip, so it's coming out pretty good right now. I will insert my bleeder screw back in here. Leave it a little bit loose. There's still plenty to come out. Again, I want to make sure that that is full. Now I'm going to remove these bolts. And yes, I could have put this on as a whole assembly all at once. I prefer doing it like this because, again, now it gives that plenty of time to bleed. And I'm starting to get fluid out of that pretty good now, so I actually feel comfortable tightening that up here in just a moment. That's going to be my 10mm. Perfect. So now here's just our caliper. That's our caliper bracket. This is our caliper, and that's just excess fluid that was bleeding onto that. My dirty hands getting my beautiful red calipers dirty. What a shame, oh, what a shame. All right, so this kit came with a ton of shims, I believe, again, for multiple different vehicles. We got our shims kit now, all stainless steel hardware. Came with it. They'll actually clamp on up. And they'll clamp on. We've got our brakes. Let me pause this. Here's our little baby brake pads. All the time. Wife's in the house. Oh God. I don't know if the camera could see that far over, but it's in my mouth. So we're gonna lube little pieces that go onto the moving parts. So right here, sometimes I like to put a little bit of grease on the back here that touches the piston itself. But you really want to make sure that you get some kind of good grease here. It's going to allow the pads to push back off of the rotors once you let off the brake. And that's going to, you know, let your car roll freely again. If you constantly have pressure against the rotors, your car's working harder to stay in motion. So with a little bit of grease and good stainless steel guides here, it works out pretty well. And you'd think that I'd have this figured out after the other side. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Okay, but now this will slide. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I just took it right out. I had it, and then I took it out. You're an idiot, dude. Idiot. Ren, you idiot. Ren and Stimpy, yeah, you're probably too young for that, depending on the age demographic watching my video here. You know, all 17 of you guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. I know sometimes they can be rather long or exhausting hearing me say repeatedly. But hopefully you learned something. How to put steps on a Ram. Yep, that's my most popular. Otherwise, maybe enjoying a Hearst show video. If you're one of my nephews watching, hi. And if you're anybody else, hello. Bingo, bango. All right, so those are in. Caliper slides on. I could have sworn. There they are. These are our two little bolts. These come pre-lubed. These guide pins are already lubed, so I don't have to lube them. And what we'll do is we'll get in the car. We'll give the brake a couple of good pumps. We'll start the car. We'll give the brakes a couple of good pumps. And that will fill up the piston and put these tight against it. Right now it's a little bit loose. But once you hit the pedal a couple of times, it'll pump up the system, take it out of the master cylinder. Master cylinder? I think that's what it's called. Yeah, master cylinder. Brake master cylinder. I think, you know, been out of school for a long time. I don't work on cars anymore. I went to school to do it, but not really a passion. I hate working on other people's stuff. I do not enjoy it at all. Alright. That's on there. We're going to start the car, pump up the brakes, come back, take a good look, put the tires on, and then I'm probably going to spin the car around. I'm also going to put this back on right there after I give them one last little bleed down. I just want to open it up once I pump up the brakes and make sure they're good and taut. Thanks for watching. So I've gotten in the vehicle, I've pumped them up, and as you can see now, there's no wiggle on that pedal, on that caliper. So I'll open this up. We have fluid instantly. Pedal feels good and firm. I'm happy with it. Get that a little snug. We're gonna go ahead and put our dust cover on here. Reattach our tire. Oh God. Possibly do the splits right here. So what happens when you don't have a clean workspace? For the record, I do have a clean workspace. I'm just clumsy. Got a cheap wheel lock here. For concerned citizens, no, this is not my final torque. I do have a torque wrench. I will be torquing that down properly. I'm taking it for a proper test drive and breaking in the pads properly. Again, thanks for watching. We'll be back with the front end probably in about 10 minutes. Alright, too close. Too close. Let me set that down so that I got that. Alright. Disclaimer, I got my ass kicked on the other side. I have never in my life dealt with that high of a torque on any part. Honestly, just insanity. There's, as far as I'm concerned, there's no need for the level of torque that was used on the other side of the car here. The caliper bracket bolts, they're 13/16 on the front. The rears were 18 millimeter. But the torque that these are set at is, it's unreasonable. Just completely unreasonable. Yeah, I worked way too hard on that side. I'm not overly ecstatic about that. This side I'm going to do a little bit differently. I'm going to break these apart first, because in order to get enough leverage on those brake caliper bolts, I actually have to remove the calipers separate and be able to get my, it's such limited space, and it's just a matter of adapt and overcome at this point. And yeah, so we're gonna do that. We're going to take the caliper off of the caliper bracket, set our bolts down there, caliper bracket, caliper. That's where our banjo bolt goes on. And again, that's going to be on the bottom, bleed screw on the top. Important. Okay. It's the same size over here, 1/2 inch. It's right there. I got my 2 copper crush washers. Crush washers, yeah. One for the outside, one for the inside. Excuse me, that was probably maybe a burp. Hopefully you can see past my knee. Alright. I'd like to say I care about my floor in here. I don't, and even if I did, it's too late to care now.
How's it coming?
Not great.
What?
They're not great. I absolutely got beat up on the other side. Just miserable.
Are you on the last side now?
Yeah, this is the last corner I gotta do.
So all 4 are done?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. And then I'll have to, you're good. Go ahead. Bye.
No, I'm listening.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Bye. You ever ask somebody questions and then walk away as they're answering? I have a coworker. I like to talk sometimes over him, and he'll be like, "We're having a conversation. You say something, I say something," and yeah, it's probably the cocaine. I don't know. I don't know. Let's get that just snugged up a little bit. That'll stop our leak. We're going to place that over there out of the way. And hopefully we'll just remove this nice and easily. Oh, that's awesome. That's new. Jesus. Boom. Ah. I got a strange feeling that the inside of that is actually spinning, and I'm not actually spinning the freaking small bolt out. But instead I'm spinning this part too, which is just a guide pin sleeve. Because again, that's kind of what I was experiencing on the other side. You know what though, that might actually be out of our way. So let's wiggle these pads off. You know, the pads aren't actually in bad shape. On only the passenger side rear was pretty worn down. And that's likely due to not greasing these right here, your brake shoes, your brake pads. Not lubing those up properly. One of the calipers sticks. And next thing you know, you've got yourself uneven wear. And then you've also got it pulling to the left or to the right as you're braking. That's what causes that uneven braking. All right, let me do my whole righty-tighty. That right there is tightening. So it would appear we need to do this, which is down. So let's see how this goes for us on this side. Oh, I can already tell you, it's going to be about the same as the other side. Jesus. All right, time out. I'm going to soak this thing with some PB Blaster. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not, you know, maybe if I turn the wheel here, I could get my, my breaker bar on there. I've never had to do that. It's absolutely insane to me that is that freaking tight. Well, that almost sounds scary for half a second, huh? Let's see here at this angle. Ooh, I still don't clear. I do not clear this. There's no way in heck I can get my breaker bar on there. I guess I'm just gonna have to, we're just gonna have to He-Man it, okay? I'm gonna turn you off though in case for the cussing and swearing, of course. Okay, thanks. We're back. We're not happy about what just happened, but we are back. Okay. So, just try to at least keep my shims clean, huh? I do have a brass hammer, which would actually be, you know, advised, but these are trash. I'm not reusing these. What kind of job would it be if we didn't blow on it? Okay. So here we go. Label driver front driver side. That's on there. The hardware, these bolts aren't the issue. They're clean. They are just torqued to high heaven, dissimilar metals. I don't know. Again, I am not a huge fan of the amount of effort that required. I am really not. Well, we're on to the rebuild process now. So let's just be thankful for that, I guess, huh? Yeah. So, we'll get these torqued all the way back. I'll torque them so tight I actually lift the car off the freaking jack. Because, you know, that's how the factory had it. It is amazing how thin this upper control arm is. It is scary thin. It's like I've seen thicker horseshoes. Before I really run that one home, I'd like to get the other one started and pretty close to where it needs to be. There is a little bit of play in these, a little bit of tolerance, so you don't necessarily want to run one all the way home without the other being pretty close. You know, otherwise you run the risk of just not even lining up as well as you should. Okay, we're doing a power stop complete brake system on a 2016 Dodge Challenger. Father-in-law just picked this up right before the winter hit, and he actually bought the kit about 4 months ago, but didn't want to install it and then have it sit in the driveway basically for the next several months. So we stored it, and we're just now getting to getting to the installation of it. I feel like that's pretty tight. All right, on to the meat and potatoes of the show, or whatever they say. We got our shims, stainless steel. They're beautiful. They'll go on there, they'll snap right in. There's going to be a little bit of play in our rotor until our caliper and our pads are on. I've pre-lubed, again, our mating surfaces here. I've pre-lubed these and set them off to the side. These are not side specific, left or right. They're actually all 4 pads are the same exact, so that's nice. Push that a little bit, push that slide in, and now we're back to our 2 original, which these are, like, were they 15 millimeter? They were 17 millimeter. So on the other side, on the rears, they were 1/2 inch. Everything was basically 1/2 inch, and over here, they're 17 millimeter. And then this inside captive one, right here, that's an 18 millimeter. So you kind of want to have both of those so you can back it up and actually get good torque on that. So we'll run that in. I have not opened up this side so it can begin bleeding yet. So actually I need to open that up. I need to spin this nice and tight fully. That is loosen. I knew it before I even cracked. I knew it. And I was still like, let's do this. She's good and tight. So now I'll take the bleeder screw out. Set a couple of rags right there because now we care. we don't. That was a lie. Leave that slightly loose. We're going to grab our 17 millimeter and our 18 millimeter box end wrench. We're going to hold that there. We're going to put this on the outside here, and we're going to tighten this up. Woo! Like I said, these are original tools too. Me going to automotive school over 20 years ago, so these ratchets have had their fair share of use. Being used as hammers, obviously, because, you know, when you don't have a hammer around, a ratchet is always a good makeshift hammer. All right. Very nice. Again, you can see it's kind of loose right now. Once the brake pedal is pumped a couple of times and we get brake fluid out of here, we'll be golden. We're going to check our brake fluid right now. It's actually not very low at all. Maybe it's lost an ounce. So I will grab some brake fluid and top that off. I'm going to toss our old rotor, oh my goodness, old caliper, into my scrap metal bin. Oh, we're leaking pretty good now. Get that tightened up. Guys, that's going to do it. There is bedding instructions right here on the inside of our box. It says basically we're going to do some driving to warm up. We're going to want to accelerate, get up to about 40 miles an hour, and then slam on our brakes hard. Get them nice and hot 5 times, never coming to a complete stop. And then we want to go speed up to 35 and then slowly slow down to 5. And then make sure we drive around for another 5 minutes. After those 5 hard stops, 5 regular decelerations, never coming to a complete stop. And then drive around for another 5 minutes to make sure that the brake's cool. And then what that's going to do is it's going to bed our pads to the caliper, to the rotors. and make sure that they're bedded together and basically marry them. If you have warpage or anything on your pads, on your rotors, you'll feel that. You'll feel your pedal pulsing. So it's very important to break in your new pads to your new rotors. Other than that, thanks for watching. Maybe check out some of my other videos. And, oh goodness. That's all. Bye.